Hey there everyone. Did you ever wonder where the name Real Fixes Real Fast actually came from? Well, as you can tell, I'm an old guy. I got my start with carburetors, distributors, vacuum lines, and mechanical fuel pumps. And it was true back then, and it's true today. Making money fixing cars meant you had to be real smart, and work fast. Why fast? Well, with all that in mind, here's a fact. You can't get paid on it until you fix it. And another fact, you can't fix it until you diagnose it. And one more, a quick diagnosis means a quick fix, means a quick payout. Now that's where the name came from. Real fixes, real fast. Now this industry has been very good to me, and I wanted to give back from what I had learned. So I began making short videos to do just that, give back. And for example, here's one of my early videos. It was a 99 Mercury Villager 3.3 with 150,000 miles, and the complaint was a check engine light, and it ran like it had a miss, and a real steady, consistent misfire with the code P0304. So how can we quickly diagnose this and quickly get paid? Well, first we need to gather some evidence. So P0304 tells us to focus on cylinder number 4. Cylinder number 4 is misfiring, but why? Well, what I would do is two things at once. First, take out the spark plug and install a spark tester. Why? Well, because with the spark plug out, you can hear if it has compression. And with the spark tester, you can see how strong the spark is or is not. And second, install a Noid light on the injector connector. Why? Well, because with the Noid light, you can see that the computer not only has a timing signal, it is also commanding that injector on, or maybe it's not. So ask yourself, taking all this into consideration, and you have code P0304, which is a cylinder 4 single cylinder misfire, is there a need to check the other cylinders? Why or why not? Well, it starts and runs, accelerates well, so there is no need to check the compression on all the other cylinders, and that should save you some time. It starts, runs, and accelerates well. It just has a clear and present misfire. So what evidence can you not see, but you can assume is here? Well, it starts, runs, accelerates well. There has to be adequate fuel delivery and pressure. So there is no need to do a fuel pressure test, and that's going to save you some even more time. So why do two things at once? Well, we know now that we can rule out fuel pressure, we can rule out compression, we could hear it, and you can see the good spark. We can see it. We have injector control. You can see the pulse. But the question is it squirting fuel? So we need to know two things. Is it squirting fuel, and or is it capable of squirting?
Okay, we're using an ohmmeter to test for fuel injectors. We're on the first fuel injector. You can see by the pattern we got 11.8, 11.9. We're going to move to the second injector, the one that's suspected bad. Just use your red and black and white reading. And you see this one is out of limits. Then we're going to go back to the other injector, or not to go to the third injector. You can see tap in there. And 11.9. So we got 11.8, 11.9 ohms on two of them, but the middle one's out of limits, so that middle injector's got an open in it.
Now I know some of you may be saying, well, that was pretty easy. And it was, because the access was so easy, and the tools and the testing were pretty simple. So let's take a closer look at something similar, but quite a bit different. Same vehicle, similar mileage, but with a different code, P0305. Like the other video, we start with the basics: spark, compression, and fuel. It's running and accelerating well, has a single cylinder misfire, and knowing this, and to save some time, we can rule out fuel pressure, but we need to confirm that the spark is good. Take out number 5 spark plug, but leave it attached to the wire and coil. Safely ground it, and you can see that it has 40 plus kV, and you can hear that it has compression. So with 40 plus kV, that confirms the coil, plug are capable of delivering adequate spark. It's running and accelerating well, so we can rule out fuel pressure. Now don't be too quick here. You can see that this test is external. Now use your critical thinking. With good spark, good compression, and good fuel pressure, why is it misfiring? Well, think. These tests are external. They are occurring outside the piston chamber, and we need to know what is happening inside the piston chamber, right?
Okay, we're looking for the ignition. We're going to test spark to see where they got it. We come in here. We're hooking up to a known good spark plug, not the one under suspicion. If you look at the lap scope, you can see a good single ignition pattern. I'll switch back over here. I'm going to switch to a second good one. Go back to the lap scope. You can still see the good pattern. Now we'll go back to the suspicious one, which is number 5. And we'll hook on to number 5. Go back to the scope and you can see the bad pattern. We've got negative burn time. Your spark is firing. Negative burn time. Something's wrong with that injector.
Now we're going to cover ignition waveform interpretation in a different lesson. But for now, what do you see different in these two waveforms? Understanding what waveforms are, why is this evidence? Well, because it lets you see inside the piston chamber. It gives us the ability to see inside the chamber with the engine running when the problem is happening. Now how about compression? When we checked number 5, we had 120 psi. So with that information, do I need to check the compressions on all the cylinders? Well, it's running and accelerating well with a single cylinder misfire, so no. And that's another time saver. Spark is good, compression is good, so by process of elimination, are we safe to say it must be a bad injector? Well, a big warning here. Don't assume. Get proof. Now here is the intake. And here are the front injectors. You can see they're right down in front, pretty easy. Access is very easy. Injector number 5 is under the intake. So the intake must come off to test the injector, right? But is that necessary? And is there a faster way? Is there any way to gain access to that injector, even though it's under the intake, without removing the intake? Well, the injector wires are under the intake, and they can be easily accessed from above at the injector connector without removing the intake.
Okay, I'm going to try and test for an injector. I'm going to first test a good injector so you can see that, and then go for the bad injector wire. We're going to the best connection right here. Come down in here, locate my wire, pierce the wire. Now if you look at the lab scope, you can see the good injector pattern. I'm going to take that out of there, come back to the harness. I'm going to go to my suspect injector. I'll pierce that wire. Go to the lab scope, and signal, we've got a dead injector. Got an open circuit in that injector.
Now there's evidence that the injector is bad. Now you can take the intake off. And now you have confidence in your diagnosis that it is correct. Once the intake is off and the injector is out, a simple ohm test will confirm that the injector is open. So now you have two examples how Real Fixes Real Fast got the name. Real Fixes Real Fast is about critical thinking, getting evidence, and letting the evidence lead you to the problem.